Hey everyone, my name is Rob Shalafu. I am 29 years old and I'm about to go into year two of the personal fitness trainer program at NATE. So I just want to tell you a little bit of what I think I've learned about leadership here. Go through the duration of this course. I thought maybe the story of a couple of things I went through growing up could tie everything in pretty nicely. So again, I'm from Edmonton, Alberta. Grew up, born in '86, grew up absolutely loving hockey, and that was my whole life. Completely consumed me. I was a little, all that mattered to me was who was playing the games and what was happening. So here's a picture. And yes, it says 1999 stars in the corner. I am super old. So as I started to go up through the ranks in hockey, I came into Pee Wee, and I had the same coach almost all the way through. And this coach was a scout for Swift Current Broncos, and he really treated us like we were already in the WHL, even though we were about 12 years old. So me at a young, immature age, started seeing all these distractions coming through. I wanted to go on dates with girls. I was getting really into skateboarding. I always really liked music. However, I was usually the captain of my team, so there was a lot of responsibilities that I don't think I knew how to handle as I was a young person, and I really had no one mentoring me, telling me, if you stick with this, things will really work out for you. So Bantam comes through, play for the Maple Leafs, and Bantam draft goes through, and I basically make a list of teams that I would have loved to play for, which is so unrealistic for a 16-year-old kid to do, and a couple teams that I didn't. And one was Swift Current. I really didn't want to be stuck with this coach who was literally finding out, if I go on a date with a girl, I'm not allowed to go, play the game the next day. So of course, I get drafted to Swift Current and I walk away, quit on the spot, ran away from the thing. I had no one mentoring me. I had no leadership roles in my life at all. And I actually went into grade 12 and then basically bailed out to California to try and pursue my music goals. And again, I think I really just want to reiterate that I just had absolutely no one, to tell me, look, like my dad was really mad that I had left, and there was no force in my life that was telling me, look, like think about how I did it. There was no leadership per se. Okay, so here's a part of the story where it gets a little bit crazy. So fast forward a few years, I was 18 years old, just trying to like tour around the United States, playing in these dumb little bands. Turned my back on sports. I had nothing going for me other than my passion to follow music. So came back to Edmonton, met some people that I thought we could write good stuff with. We wrote some music together, and through a crazy chain of events, Gene Simmons from Kiss found us, did a reality show, and we turned into the band Stereos and had some pretty good success. So here's one of my platinum record plaques. That's me right there. Whole lot different. So being a kid from the north side of Edmonton and getting given this pretty crazy situation to go travel around and fly and do whatever I want, and I was paid to do it, I had, again, the same lack of responsibility that I had with my attitude in hockey. I never took ownership of anything. I basically went around and did what I wanted to. And, I would come home and I'd talk to my parents, and they'd be like, Rob, like your life is so incredible. Like, aren't you having fun? I was like, no, I'm miserable doing this. There's nothing fulfilling me. I'm not, even though I'm traveling around, going to Miami, going to Cuba, going, overseas, doing whatever. And we had the number one song at the time. There was just something missing in me. And I realized I just had no accountability. And I wasn't really taking charge of what I like to do. And we'll get a little personal here, but everything you've read about, bands on tour is true, right? So friends, really good friends are getting into drugs, alcohol, the girls are getting around the situation, and it was just tough to kind of watch that whole situation, you know, crumble in front of me. I saw my best friends, getting in situations that I never dreamed we'd get into, and they definitely weren't healthy situations. So one day in Austin, Texas, 2010, we had been touring around the States for about a month and a half. Back in Canada, we were still the number one song and the number two song on the radio until this Justin Bieber guy came out. And we had gone drinking all night. I had zero athleticism in me. I had probably shrunk down from 170 to 130 pounds. And I just don't know what happened. And I'd wake up in the hotel room, and I'm basically laying in the bathtub, and I had thrown up all over myself. There were people in the hotel room I didn't know. I'd missed the bus to Dallas, so I basically had to hitchhike with random people to Dallas because my band had turned their back on me and been like, this is just out of control. And on that drive, I thought of two things. I thought of my favorite goal ever scored in the NHL was Steve Yzerman in 1996 playoffs. And I started thinking about how much I used to love sports and how, the captains of these sports teams were such leaders to their things, and just how good I felt during hockey training and hockey conditioning camp, and what I was doing with my life, even though on the outside looking in was so incredible, on the inside it was miserable. And so I got to Dallas, just absolutely depressed, played the show, went back to the hotel room, and that night, instead of surprise from the cat. Yeah, so that night, instead of going to the after party, I went to the hotel gym, and I sat and I thought about my life, and I thought what I really wanted and how I was going to take charge of it. So had a baby workout, but I got that endorphin feeling, and I started feeling incredible. And on the spot there, I decided, man, like I'm getting back into sports, whether it's just watching them or coaching them or something, and I just really want to, help kids that are 10 to 16 dealing with those distractions on how to get over it. So one thing snowballed into another. We couldn't maintain the fame for as long as we'd wanted to. Album sales were down, and I thought, this is a perfect opportunity. And by the way, I had typical band guy gotten married to a stranger that I didn't know from Los Angeles, and I was living in LA. And a friend of hers had opened a gym in Huntington Beach, and I started working there, and he was training football players. So I got really into football, and I started seeing, this like leadership mentality of what you can do when you really like take charge, and all the wisdom that we had been through of directing people what to do and saving them from these situations. So, long story short, to sum up the Stereos thing, 2012 came by, and I basically on the spot said, look, I can't do this anymore. I want to commit my life to fitness. I really wanted to become a football coach. I was 26 at the time, and I knew it was time to move on. So here we are in 2015, and I left LA. I'm no longer married to that girl I was married to down there, and I'm back in Edmonton, and I couldn't be happier. I'm enrolled in NAIT, obviously, for the fitness trainer program. I'm a personal trainer at World Health on the South Side. I spend my weekends working with youth football, and I just want to sum up and say leadership to me is using one's wisdom that they've gathered in their life to appropriately guide someone else in what you think would be a higher path than the path you took. And that's what it means the most to me. If I could just, get through to one kid that maybe resembled me growing up and say, look, like, stay focused. Like, I want to be your mentor. I can do this for you. I can help you get through this. That would make this whole journey worth it to me. And I know there's those kids out there that are getting to that exact age, and they're incredible athletes right now and whatever they're doing, and there's those distractions pulling them. And I think those kids just really need someone like us that can show them, like, look, stay the course. You guys can do this. So thanks for listening to my story, guys. I know it's kind of weird and crazy, but I just want to reiterate how happy I am with the choices that I've made now, and look forward to working with y'all.